Fibermaxxing for 28 days, the plan. This is the setup, not the payoff. This video is about the plan that I'm about to endure for 28 days, and maybe endure is not the right word. This video right now is not going to be the results. That's going to happen over the next couple of videos with the final lessons learned at the end. This video is just the plan. I'm not going to show you before and after pictures. Those come later in week 4 when I show you the results then. Right now, I want to walk you through the structure of a 28-day experiment I'm starting, why I designed it the way I did, and what I'm actually changing in my day-to-day life. If you're the kind of person who wants to understand the why before the what, this video is for you. Now, why am I doing this? I'm an engineer in my 40s, and this isn't my first nutrition experiment. And I've lost significant weight twice in my life, once in my 20s, then again in my 30s, both times counting calories very carefully, and it worked. And both times, over enough years, the weight came back, and even more so. The first time I got about 30 pounds back when I did it again in my 30s. And then my 30s, slowly over almost a decade, I gained 50 pounds. Oh my. The problem here was never knowledge. The problem was sustainability and maintenance, really. So now I have a young daughter. Sleep is fragmented, stress is higher, recovery rates longer than it used to be. So the design constraints for this experiment and for my weight loss again have changed. I still care about body composition, but I care just as much about my long-term cardiovascular risk, which I've always cared about, but now I have an external why, not just it'd be nice to have why. My energy and resilience, for me, always wanted it, but I especially see I want that with a young daughter in my late 40s now. And building habits I can keep for decades, not months. That's the frame for everything that's going to follow during this experiment. Now, let's talk about why fiber keeps pulling me back as keep doing a diet around fiber. Fiber's not exciting. There's no identity around it. There's no tribe. There's no dramatic transformations attached to it. And they've tried lots of experiments, full scientific, let's give people inulin and see what happens. Almost everyone agrees we should eat more fiber, and almost no one does. And yet fiber keeps showing up in the most boring parts of the research. Helps with satiety, makes you more full. Helps with blood sugar, helps with your gut health, and microbiome's becoming very, very big. And it helps with other long-term metabolic outcomes. Just like people who eat a little bit more nuts, people who eat more fiber tend to live longer. I know that's a big claim, and this is not a science video, so I'm not going to go review all the things about it, but everyone tells you to eat more fiber. It's boring, just like eating more vegetables. There's a reason why everyone keeps saying it at different places around the world. What makes fiber interesting to me now is that it is powerful and it's boring. I'm hoping to find a maintenance plan that'll outlast the next long period of time and really carry me to the end of my life, healthy, happy, and filled with energy. I also want something to help upstream of willpower. Instead of asking me to eat less and hope discipline holds, I want fiber to change how quickly I feel full, how long that fullness lasts, and how much mental effort food requires. Fiber is quiet, it's boring, and boring systems tend to scale. So there's a belief that's almost reflexive in nutrition. If you want fat loss and good blood sugar, you need to be careful with carbs. Now, this experiment deliberately pokes at that assumption. What happens if carbohydrates aren't minimized, but instead paired with very high fiber? What happens if most of your eating happens early in the day? And what happens if I exercise and reduce it to something so small and short it's almost impossible to skip? No calorie counting, no fasting protocols to manage, no supplements to stack, just a few structural changes applied consistently. Now, this isn't keto. It isn't intermittent fasting, though some fasting is involved, in all fairness, because I've already developed the habit and I'm not going to break it. And it isn't an attempt to prove that one approach is better than all others. This is a 28-day experiment. It's not a belief system, not a prescription, and definitely not the way for everybody. It's one person, me, one set of simple constraints, and one question. What's easy enough to keep doing now and for the rest of my life? And let's go over the structure. And I'm always doing this in as few rules as possible. So rather than turning this into a complex protocol, I'm trying to reduce it to 3 rules. The goal is to make the structure simple enough that the only real challenge would be showing up. So rule number 1, fiber comes first. This is the anchor of the experiment. The target is at least 45 grams per day, primarily from whole foods. Beans, sometimes lentils, vegetables and fruit, really fruit helping out with that one, and potatoes and oats, but those have a different purpose for this experiment. There's no calorie counting, no macro targets, no requirement to supplement fiber. The instruction is simple. Eat to satisfaction, but make fiber the foundation. Now, fiber isn't accidental in this plan. It's the thing the plan is built around. Rule number 2, eat earlier. The second rule is timing, and this is where it gets a little gray, and it's kind of like intermittent fasting. But I've already got this habit in place, so continuing it won't be hard. Calories are finished roughly between 4 and 6 p.m. So in general, I'm trying to eat while the sun is shining. It's not because food becomes bad at night, but because our circadian biology doesn't really care about our preferences. After dinner, it's water and electrolytes for me only. No heavy protein or fat late at night. And this isn't about restriction. It's about alignment with patterns that seem to make this whole weight loss plan easier. Rule number 3, exercise is intentionally minimal. The third rule is exercise, and it's deliberately small. 3 to 6 minutes of intense movement, 5 or 6 days per week. Bike, stairs, hill, or body weight, all of that qualifies. Morning is ideal, but not mandatory. Short, intense, over quickly. The goal isn't calorie burn with exercise. It's to provide a signal to, keep my muscles going, but also I found more importantly in my late 40s, keep that aerobic fitness up. In other words, I don't get winded going up the stairs. The food template I'm starting with, and I want to be clear here, this is only the one I'm starting with, as you'll see through these videos, because I'm filming this at the end, is that it changed. This plan that I'm giving you right here, this plan was a little too intense, and you'll see that in the week 1 results video, but for the sake of the experiment, I'm giving you the full progression as I went through it all and how it went. So the food choices can change throughout this. In the morning, I'm going to do a short bout of fasted micro hit on a stationary bike that I have downstairs. It's basically a 3-minute thing where I do 30 seconds easy, 10 seconds all out, back and forth, and repeat that for the 3 minutes. Now, I have this little exercise bike that it shows you 6 or 7 different menus, and it just cycles through them automatically. And so basically for the first 5 menus, I just go slow. And then the last 2 menus, I go as fast as I can. And it's nice that those 2 menus include the RPMs, like how fast you're spinning the pedals. So, but that's just general. I don't know if it's exactly 30 seconds, 10 seconds, but it feels about that. It takes me I can't remember, 5, 6, or 7 cycles to finish the full 3 minutes. So it's not like, it's basically hit, and I feel it and I like it. Then I wait. The first meal comes later in the morning, and it's built around fiber. So some days it's 2 bean burritos from Taco Bell, simple, predictable, about 18 grams of fiber. So, nothing crazy or great. Other days it's steel-cut oatmeal with fruit, pretty much raspberries and blackberries, and this pushes closer to 25, 26 grams of fiber. Midday is where most of my fiber is going to live, usually a tofu-based salad with beans, edamame, and vegetables, and often a bean banana smoothie, and that alone can contribute 20 grams of fiber, and just the smoothie, not the salad, those 2 separate things. The smoothie is a bean smoothie, and the beans do the heavy lifting of adding fiber to that sucker, but it's also a lot of flax and other high fiber things. Dinner is early, and it's potato-based, and this one is not for weight loss, and it's not necessarily a fiber hack. This is actually a sleep hack and a autophagy hack that I've been trying to add into this plan. So about 1 pound to 1.25 pounds of steamed potatoes, steamed in the Instapot, and cooked ahead of time and reheated, cooled and then reheated. And the cooling process helps make that resistant starch that I like the idea of, and in theory will help similar to fiber in terms of giving me that second meal effect like beans do and making me less craving lead and hungry all the time. And sauces are allowed. And I've done this before. I've done the potato hack from Tim Steele. Loved it. I wouldn't say I loved it. It was very, very, very hard for me. This is basically almost an upgraded potato hack where I'm trying to use other fiber foods to have similar results. Not super drop fast weight loss like potato hack, but steady and even without all the crazy cravings that I would get when I was on the potato hack. Now, this potato thing is not meant to be punitive. Again, it's really for autophagy. It's super low protein, and it doesn't have a ton of fiber, and it's meant to kind of help with a more thorough fast overnight and get a little bit more autophagy by morning. So, and nothing to decide after this meal. After this meal, it's water and electrolytes. And usually if it's been a good day and everything's been according to plan, I like to reward myself with a little kombucha. So let's go over the tools I'm using. These were the original tools. I ended up using slightly different things, but just for all intents and purposes, I want to give you the original stuff. So, and these are for feedback, not micromanagement throughout the day or day-to-day changes of the plan. And most of this is passive. So for body composition, I'm going to do the daily weigh-ins and really just kind of monitor the numbers for that for like week-long or longer trends. I never really worry too much about jumps day to day. Weekly waist measurements, which I quickly dropped, and I don't do that anymore because it's really hard to do that objectively. It's really easy to cheat with waist measurements. And how clothes fit, and I'll leave that at that. I wanted to also measure sleep and recovery because the theory was that the autophagy and just this kind of higher fiber and especially the big potato in the evening meal would help with my sleep. And I wanted a way to kind of track that. So I have an Apple Watch, and the idea was that I would use that and it would show me how much REM, blah, blah, blah. And the Apple Watch sneak peek, it was useful. And it did show me total hours slept. But if I just left the Apple Watch on and just woke up early because the baby and then stayed in bed or whatever, woke up and couldn't get back to sleep and just lied there in the dark, quiet, it more or less registered as I was sleeping. And there was something wrong with my Apple Watch. And so it didn't record the REM and the deep sleep and all those other phases. So the Apple Watch was not the best thing for me for tracking like sleep. I also have a Polar like chest strap heart monitor, and that you can use with several apps. And I forget the name of the app that I'm using, but it was some free app, and it measures your HRV, your heart rate variability. And that I've been doing for almost a year. So that ended up telling me, did I get good sleep and am I ready for the day or not? And so I did that throughout, and I still do that. And I'm going to keep doing that. It's very easy to do. It only takes 2.5 minutes. And technically the Apple Watch also does HRV, but like, I just liked this other app that I'm using for kind of showing me over time how it's going. And it gives me like a quick little reading if I'm ready for the day or not and a score, and then it remembers that score. So anyways, I also bought a Stello continuous glucose monitor, which I can't show you because I'm using that to prop up the computer here, where I'm kind of using some notes/script to kind of go over all this stuff. But at some future point, I will probably use the CGM, the continuous glucose monitor, because I really am interested to see how this high fiber changes my blood sugar spikes. And I will be the study of N=1, just me. So the only comparison to that will be the times where basically I have cheat meals that are super high sugar. And then you'll be able to see how like a day of eating this plan versus when I throw in like an ice cream or some other kind of cheat meal with a lot of sugar, or just a big change without the fiber, for instance. Maybe it's healthy, but no fiber. See how that affects. That will probably come in the future because I bought the Stello and I want to use it. So now I'm not using it to chase perfect blood sugar numbers or diagnose anything. I'm not a doctor. I can't do any of that. I'm only interested in this for me, and I'm only going to show you my results. So please note, there is my disclaimer. I'm also, when I use the glucose monitor, it'll be for fun, and I want to visualize patterns, and I just want to see like how my blood responds to what I eat and how my blood responds to these high level of fibers, because I did end up getting some killer high levels of fibers that were awesome, that had benefits well beyond weight loss that I knew could have happened, but I did not plan on them, and it's not part of the plan. And anyways, you'll see all these when I get to the result videos. So, and let it be known, I'm intentionally collecting more data than I expect to keep using long-term. I'm not going to do these things forever. Part of this plan is to figure out what am I going to do for maintenance in the long run. And you'll see as this progresses how I get to that in a way that works pretty much just for me. And other people can use this if you want, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. Do whatever you want to do. If you have issues, please do this with your doctor. But it's more, I just want you to see how I progress and how I kind of tweak the rules very gently week to week to find something that really is easy and no-brainer for me and that seems to be getting me the results that I want. So anyways, that's that. Entire measurement routine really just takes a couple minutes. It's not super long, and it's intentional. exercise and measurement. It should be super duper duper short. A lot of this stuff, I want to take away the thinking. It's just like, oh, time to eat, feed body, move on, in a way that's enjoyable. All right, let's talk about how these 28 days will begin. So no elaborate baseline period. When I was brainstorming this, I thought it'd be nice to do normal, just not doing this plan and, take all my measurements and then jump into it and do it for 28 days and then do a washout week. But then that's just too long and I was too excited to get started. So I skipped the beginning and I'm going to skip the end. And that doesn't mean I don't get results because I've been taking measurements for years and years. So I will have things to compare this to that you'll be able to see. It'll just not be as closely linked to, it'll be hard to parse out which parts of this plan did which things. On day 0, like always, I take weight measurements. Waist, I'm supposed to according to this plan, but just heads up, I'm not going to do waist because you really can so easily cheat with waist and caliper pinchers and all that stuff. Whereas weight, you can't really cheat. It gives you a number. Either you ate a lot of salt and you retained water or you didn't. All kinds of things can happen. But generally, if you get on that scale every day and you look at the week-long averages and the trend lines, up, down, flat, you'll know when you're stalled or when you're going up or when you're going down. And it's much harder to cheat. So I've already been doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. Next 28 days, the structure stays fixed. That's not entirely true. That was the idea. The structure will change week to week. So basically, I'm going to do a week of a set of rules like the ones I gave you here, and then I'm going to analyze them with my actual body weight measurements and body fat measurements and other things from all these little devices I'm using, and then kind of have a conversation, which I won't do over the videos here, but conversation with ChatGPT that's primed for this kind of Fibermaxx mentality, and then tweak the next week with little tiny tweaks and then see how that week goes, tweak. And so I'll always give it the rules will be followed for 1 week, tweak, 1 week, tweak, because the idea is that I want to kind of baseline it into a plan that I can do forever. Ultimately, I'm trying to find the maintenance plan, because if you could do, I'm maintaining at 157 pounds, using these strategies, we'll just do those strategies now and skip the weight loss part, because if you do those strategies now, you'll get to that weight. So anyways, foods can change, details can flex, but this general structure will stay the same. So now let's go over what the plan doesn't claim. It's not optimized for maximum fat loss. It is optimized to get me to a goal weight from approximately the upper 170s to the upper 150s. That's kind of what I'm targeting for, not in 28 days. I'm targeting to figure out plans where I'll have a steady trend towards that over time. But this 28 days is to kind of get that plan fully set where I can see I've set the compass heading on my plane and I'm going to get there. And I've got 4 weeks of data showing me I'm on the right path. It's not a muscle building program. This is HIIT just for aerobic health. And it's not universally applicable to everybody. This is a study of 1, N equals 1. And I just want to be honest about that. So why it's worth watching? It won't be exciting. It's fiber. Fiber equals poop for most people. Most of my friends that heard me talk about this and then started doing some of the little easy parts of it that might have GLP-1 functions and other things like that. We all got really excited about the potential and we all wanted to jump into it. But for the most part, they ended up talking about how it improved their poop. And I want this plan not because it's exciting, but because it's supposed to remove friction. It's supposed to remove the crazy hunger waves of OMAD and the crazy hunger waves of having a great plan and then feeling too constricted and then binging and then fasting. I want all that friction. I just want kind of boring, boring systems they survive bad sleep. They survive stressful weeks. They survive travel, and they survive imperfect execution. And they help me live this life with my partner and my daughter and all kinds of changes, and super young daughter. And that's what I want. And in the middle of this 28 days, week 3 will be in Mexico at an all-inclusive resort where I had unlimited food available. And you'll get to see the before and after and the strategies I did to kind of make it through that and what happened. So in the next video, I'm going to walk you through the results of week 1, what felt easier than expected, what didn't, and what surprised me once this moved from theory into real life. If this way of thinking resonates with you, I'd encourage you to watch that video next. And if you want help applying a similar simple set of strategies on your own, there's a link in the description where you can find out what I'm up to and work with me if you need any help on your own journey. All right, that's all. Bye.